pick which picture represents the cockpit view that you've seen. If you go get one of the study guides, this is actually something that Accepted did well. It was also something on the AFAST. If you took the Navy version of the test, it's also on that. It's in every aviation exam that the military offers. So it's been around for a while, and most of the study guides have it right. So that being said, take your time with it. Don't rush it. You will have time. I mean, obviously, don't sit there and overthink it, but it's pretty simple. And as long as you they show horizon, and then a lot of times there's a shoreline. Pay attention to what the shoreline's doing. Okay, pay attention to where like how the ocean. Are you facing the ocean? Are you facing land? Or are you know, on your right tilt or your left tilt? Okay.
So what I did
that
helped me is, like, when I was looking at the cockpit view, use your hand, and your proctor's going to look at you like you have, you know, legs growing out of your head. But I would take my hand, and you know how pilot it's exactly what I did. So I looked at the cockpit, and I made my hand do whatever it was doing in the cockpit, you know, judged on where the horizon was. And then, you know, you can look at your hand, and if you're banking up 30 degrees and, you know, you got a slight left bank, and you do that with your hand, judging by the cockpit, you can almost always figure out what's going on. So just double check. If you're like, hey, I know what that airplane's doing, just check real quick. That's what I did.
And like most military tests, a lot of the stuff on the Sift is there's going to be two completely wrong answers that are obviously wrong. There's going to be one that's fairly close, and there's going to be a correct one. Actually, the one that's fairly close could almost be correct except for one minor detail. So it's going to be pick the better of the two answers.
So following that is your math skills test. Now, what this math skills test is, it's kind of like the new ASVAB in the sense that if you get the question right, the question gets harder and harder and harder. If you get one wrong, it gets easier, and it kind of finds where you are mathematically by doing that. It uses the algorithm to do it. It has a huge impact on your Sift score. Math's important. I'm not a great mather, but I studied my butt off to do well in this because I knew it really affected my Sift score. Go find a tutor. Go reach out to your public library. If you have a college in your town, find a tutor.
I literally went to a high school math teacher and I asked him for help, and I also went to Mathnasium, where the people sitting to my left and my right were middle schoolers. You know, suck it up. If you don't know something, I wasn't too proud because I knew that this guy knew more about math than me. I actually had at one point this kid. He was a junior in high school. He's just really good at math, and he was teaching me how to do. But these kids are looking at it right now. They're learning that stuff right now, and they know it right now. For a lot of you guys that are applying, especially the prior service guys, it's been a long time since you've seen this stuff. So don't be too proud. I know you have a couple years in the military. I know you've maybe done an deployment or two. Fine, that has nothing to do with algebra. So go find the help. It helps in the long run. And like I said, go check out Math Guy. It's really cheesy, and it's almost Barney style stuff. But in the end, he breaks it down. He makes it simple, and it's very understandable, and you can just move on from there.
So finally, the last section is the mechanical comprehension. Now, this is a tough section just because of how much is covered, like the broad spectrum of information that is covered, from like electrical to mechanical to types of engineering and things like that. It's just covering all sorts of mechanical comprehension. To study this, that Accepted book did this portion pretty well too. Yeah. Learn that, in the sense of, like, don't learn everything about everything, but kind of get a broad understanding about all the different kinds of mechanical comprehension that these Accepted books offer.
General mechanical comprehension. So stuff like the amount of power that a specific amount of pulleys is applying to where you're pulling to the object you're trying to move. Know if this gear is turning this way and it's connected to this gear, which way is this third gear turning? Know that if you have a gear that's half the size of a larger gear, and this gear's, how fast is this one going in comparison to this one? How many rotations does this make for every one of these? Okay, know stuff like that. It's pretty simple stuff. On the pulley systems, which I believe is called a complex, whatever. But anyway, know that this amount of ropes equals this amount of force on that. Once again, yes, the Accepted book. This is another one of those things that's on a lot of standardized tests, and since it's on so many different standardized tests, they basically just copy it from their old test and put it in the new test or books. And they do a pretty good job.
Spend a couple dollars, buy all the Sift books you can, print off all the handbooks, the flight handbook, everything you can. Another thing that you need to do with these practice books is learn your time management. So going into it knowing how much time on each section and what's being covered was incredibly beneficial to me. Because, you know, if I wouldn't have bought these study books and I would have went in there willy-nilly and would have been like, oh, 2 minutes, oh no, go as fast as you can, it doesn't really matter. Work on your time management. What I did is I got my phone out and I took these practice tests in these study guides. Like, Accepted did a good job on the practice test, minus the math being wrong. Hit go, 2 minutes, do as many as possible. Go to the next one, hit go in 10 minutes or however long it is, and start working on your time management. Because that's good. That plays a big role because you don't want to end a section early without finishing it. And I want to keep this video kind of short. I hope that helped.
Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, like I said, we got a comment requesting some stuff on or some information on this. I know this is very general, and the final note that I could say is the most help that I got through this entire Sift thing. The book, the single most helping tool that I had was that FAA flight handbook, the FAA Rotary Flight Handbook. If you can get nothing else, read that thing, because that's what's going to help you the most. And you can get it online. It's a download. Spend a few dollars at Kinko's and have them printed out for you. That's what I did, and it helped tremendously. Knowing the terminology, that, you know, what's the cyclic, what's the collective, what's an anti-torque pedal, why do you have anti-torque pedals, and that gets into the launch.
Which way rotors spin in America based on which way rotors spin in Russia.
So all this is in that. It explains why, it explains what the effects are and all that kind of stuff. And that, like I said, that was my greatest tool. And you know, I did fairly well in the test, and here I am. So, and he did the same. So here.
Hope that helps, guys. Any other questions, comments, reviews? If you need anything else with the selection process, let us know. We are here for you.
Later.